Alright, hello today, YouTube. So, yesterday, a person watching an old video of my review for his bike here, it's the 2003 Yamaha TTR 225. I've done a few different videos on this bike, but the most popular video I did was a review about a year, actually a little over a year, probably a year and a quarter or so back. And yes, King is in the way, but he made a comment. I must have said something in the video that I don't quite remember because, it was so long ago, about these bikes having an issue bogging down. He told me that the common issue is the air filter, and I commented back that yes, indeed, it is a very common problem on dirt bikes, four-wheelers, pretty much just about anything. It can be a problem. It's like even lawnmowers. And it being the fall time, you can see the leaves, trees are changing colors, lawnmowers all covered up, got the deer stand over there out, and it's getting to be that year where I'm starting to think about winterizing this stuff and getting the snowmobiles ready, which is a very happy time of year for me. So I figured I'd make a quick video of the common problem and what it is and how to get to the airbox on one of these dirt bikes. And this might be universal for some other Yamaha bikes. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not too as familiar with dirt bikes as I am four-wheelers, so I do know on this model in particular how to do it. And I'm not saying this is a cure-all, but it is a very common problem for when these things bog down. So that being said, when you're riding it, if you give it gas and you're at about in between a quarter and half throttle, and it's kind of stuttering a little bit and not wanting to go instantly, this can be a very common problem. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you how to get to the air filter and how to change it real quick. I do not have a new one on me, but I am getting a new one this winter, so let's just get to it. So first of all, it is going to be on the left side of the bike here. So on the left side, the one where the clutch is on this particular bike, which is right above where the shifter is and where the little valve for the on-off for the gases. Now I already pre-loosened everything just so it would make the video go by a little bit quicker and make it a little bit simpler. So first of all, you're gonna want to get a screwdriver, and I had this tool set I just got. It was on sale. Somebody had brought it back for I guess it wasn't the right type of set he got. They used it once or twice and brought it back, so it was originally a $30 set. I got it for $8, so I got it from Walmart. I know it's not even Harbor Freight quality, which, even that's kind of questionable for some things, even though I've always had good luck. But, it's a $8 tool set. Why not try it out? It might last me 2 years, even that. $8 well spent. So, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver for this. The one size bit or screwdriver bit, whatever. The reason I say bit is because this one does indeed pop on and off, but one size will fit all these screws. So first of all, you're going to want to pop that screw off right there, and I already loosened it. It's already loose, so I'm going to take that off. And just a fair warning, you don't want to over tighten any of these screws I'm about to take off because they're fine threaded and they're very easily strippable, meaning that if you over tighten it, it can ruin the threads inside. So what I mean by that is this one's not as fine threaded, but it is pretty fine threaded. If it'll focus. And get to the camera's not wanting to cooperate. There you go. So you see how kind of fine threaded that is. Now these ones on the screw can get worn out if you over tighten it, but the grooves in there that the screw attaches to can definitely get worn out inside if you're not careful. So and also just make sure you have somewhere to put the screws. I'm just putting them there on the tool case. So to take this cover off, it's pretty simple. You just take that screw out. If yours doesn't have a screw, it's not a big deal. It's just this is kind of flimsy and loose if you don't. But I guess it's not mandatory, but it could fall off possibly. So what you do is after you take that screw out, you pop this out. Be careful. I'll show you why in 1 second, but you got to be very careful when you're pulling these out. Don't just rip out because there's like a little hook right here. You can kind of see that little hook, almost like a fishing hook. It hooks right into this rubber mount here. And if you're not careful enough, for one, this one's cracked, which I do need to replace. I never take this one off. This is only the second time I've taken it off in the last 2 years I've had the bike. But if you pull it out really quick, it can pull this rubber mount out, and it's not particularly hard to put it back in, but it's kind of an inconvenience and a pain in the neck to get just in there perfectly right. But so just be careful not to pull that rubber mount out. Then once you get this off, there's like a little hook that hooks in. You just pull or push forward and it will come out just like that. See a little hook right there, and be careful with that as well. It's not the strongest plastic. It could snap and then you're kind of screwed. You'd have to glue something or fix something, but it hooks into that and you need that to stay on, and that's kind of an important piece. It's kind of flimsy. If it breaks, then you're out of luck. You're gonna have to buy a replacement piece, or if you're good with stuff, you can fix it. But so then you just want to put this aside, and King is over here trying to help me, but he's not doing a whole lot. So sorry about the getting off topic. Now there's 3 screws on the air filter box. This is your air filter box right here. There's 3 screws. These 2 little screws up here on the top, right there and here, do not take those off. Those are fine where they are. You don't need those off unless you're removing the entire box. You do not take these off. Just leave these right where they are. Don't even touch these. The bigger ones, however, there's 3. It makes up a triangle. Bang, bang, bang. These 3 you want to take out and just use the same screwdriver or bit that you're using. And I already have these pre-loosened, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. That way I can just unscrew them real quick, and pop these all off one by one. And there we go. Now, what I'm about to show you might upset some people with this bike because of how dirty the air filter is. And when I bought the bike, I did know how dirty it was, but I cleaned it at the time and it ran a lot better. It ran good for the rest of the year. And this year I did a lot more dirt riding and trail riding that I did last year. Last year was pretty much just around the yard on the grass here and stuff. So it wasn't getting too dirty, but this year it's definitely gotten dirtier. So pretty much I'm going to show you. You just pop this little case off, and it sometimes needs a little bit of encouragement if it's been on there for a while. It needs like a little bit of help coming off, but it comes off just like so. Put that aside with the other cover, and then here's your air box. This is the inside of the air box, and this is just a little plastic thing to help hold this in place. And out comes the air filter. I'm being very gentle because this is brittle and old. So I'm going to kind of put this in the light here. You can see how just awfully dirty this is, and what terrible, awful shape. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. I do not condone doing this. It is not good for the engine. It is not good for the bike. It's not good for anything. This filter needs to get thrown out. There's no saving it. It needs to get thrown out. You need a new one. The only problem is that I cannot seem to find the right parts for this bike online. For whatever reason, anytime I try and buy parts for this bike online, I always check, and it always turns out it's for the wrong bike. I don't know why. And so, and the only closest place that sells Yamaha is about an hour away. So it's not convenient for me just to go out for a $6 piece of sponge, pretty much is what this is. For me to drive, I'd be spending more in gas money just to get out there to fill my truck than I would on the actual part itself. So it hasn't been convenient, but it being wintertime, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to winterize this bike and go out and buy a new one. And then I just dropped it. Yes, I did. So that's the old air filter. Now on the inside here, there is a screen. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, you can see there's a screen mesh in there. It's a metal screen right in here. And that's just kind of like a second barrier to help keep larger materials out. Now, one thing I do like about this bike a lot is how high up the nozzle is right here. And the nozzle right here, that's where your air gets sucked in and put into the bike, pretty much, into the engine. It comes from in here. So you can go through water. Essentially, you can go through water like up to like right about here without a problem. And I know from experience, I did put the bike through water well up past the chain. I'd say it was probably up to here, give or take. And maybe a little bit more on the deeper hole that I went through. And it didn't even hesitate. It was perfectly fine. Now, again, I don't condone doing that. Again, it's not the best thing for the bike or the chain or anything, but that was just like a one-time thing. But this is just like, and then there's this kind of slides into place. It is kind of awkward getting it in there because you can see that if you don't get it in there just right, it will stick out. I know this isn't the best video, but it'll stick out. It won't let you put the cover back on, so you gotta kind of just work your hand in there and work it into place as you put it in. But that's just one of the most common problems with these bikes. Any dirt bike, really, even four-wheelers. The air filters get very dirty, and that bogs down the engine. It won't run as right. It won't run as right. It won't run as well as it really should. And never start the bike without this on. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but when you start it, it makes a lot of noise, and you probably just shouldn't do it. Well, now when you start it, I was going to kind of show you, but I'd have to yell over the camera, and like I said, never really do it because it's not good, because stuff can get in there without you even noticing. I mean, it could only take a second for something to get in there, slip through that little screen, and get into the engine and ruin something. I was going to kind of show you how the air cycles through, but it'd be too hard for me to yell over the exhaust and everything. It'd be kind of hard and inaudible, and just wouldn't be very good of an idea. So that's just the most common thing for these bikes. Not just these bikes in particular, all bikes really have this problem, and it's just a very common issue for these bikes. Any type of dirt bike, even motorcycles, not as much with motorcycles, but you know, anything that has an engine with an air filter, it tends to have, you have to clean these every once in a while. It's just certain things you have to clean more often. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of just stick this back in. Yes, I know it's dirty. I'm not gonna be riding it too much more. The way that the summer is over and the fall is officially here. It's October now, so you know, I'm not gonna be out riding, you know, every day now or anything like that. So now you just gotta kind of work that little case back into place. You gotta work this little plastic piece, and it is kind of a pain to get this to go back in perfectly. I don't know why they make it so difficult, but if you don't get this in all the way, the little triangle shaped cover, like, that's not in all the way. Just for instance, this little cover will not, it just won't go in. It sticks out, and it won't allow this to go and seat in properly because it's not in there right. So you gotta kind of just work with it and kind of be gentle, because this plastic, it's not new, especially on an old 2003 bike. It's not gonna be new. It's not gonna, you know, want to bend a whole lot or anything. Like, even now, I've only done this once, and it is completely possible that I'm putting this in wrong, because I'm not 100% sure, but it does not like going in. All intents and purposes, it just doesn't like it. I think I got it in just about all the way now. So next thing to do, yeah, you see now, I still don't have it in all the way, which is kind of annoying. It's kind of a nuisance almost. I don't know what the deal is with these plastic things in here. I really don't. I'm sorry about the quality of this, not the part not wanting to go in. And like I said, it is entirely possible that I'm putting this in wrong. I'm not 100% positive how exactly it goes in, to be honest with you, because I've only taken it off one time. And that one time I took it off was, well, like I mentioned, well over a year ago. I think this is the way it has to go in, actually. I think it goes in somehow like so. It goes in something like that. I know it's kind of a... There we go. Yeah, that was how it had to go in. There we go. I had it upside down. My bad, guys. So, after you put that in, after you kind of work it into place, you're just going to want to go down here or wherever you're keeping your screws, grab all three, and start just putting these back in, just like so. Just put one in, then the other. You know, it's not a very hard process. That's the thing that I like about making these videos, is they're very simple, straightforward. Just about anybody can do them if you have the tool. In this case, all you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver. I mean, that's one of the most common things people have in their houses. And you just kind of, or even a drill with a drill bit like this, because this is well, it's not a drill bit, but it's a drill screw. you put that in a drill, and you can even use a drill on this if you don't have a screwdriver. That will fit. But, you know, that's just... And this one here has a magnet on it, so it kind of stays in, which is nice. But that's just a little off topic. I mean, it's just a fairly simple and straightforward process that just about anybody can do. And remember what I said, never over tighten these screws. And it's pretty easy not to over tighten them, because, you know, you go in, and once the thing stops turning freely, here, I'll show you. So I'm not putting any pressure on it. This is stop. Just go about a quarter turn like that on every screw. Just about a quarter turn is pretty good. I mean, if you feel like they're not in all the way and you have to do it just like maybe a half turn, you can definitely do that. Just don't overdo it, because if you strip one of these things out, it won't go back in properly, and it'll just cause more problems down the road. More problems that you don't want or need. Now, the last part, putting this cover here back into place, and this one I do need 2 hands for, so bear with me. I'm just gonna get this into place real quick, and we're back. So I got this little hook inserted. That's what you need 2 hands for. You need to have like 1 hand here to push it, and then 1 hand here to line it up with the seat. And then after you get it in, you just kind of pop that in just like that. Pretty easy. Put the screw in here, and this one had the little rubber mount here thing. It came with that, so that's how I put it in. It makes it so it actually seats around this. It's like a washer. Think about it being, it's just a big rubber washer. So you put that in, and then you get your screwdriver back out, or drill, or whatever you're using, and you just kind of, you know, do the same thing you did with the airbox. Tighten it down. Once it stops turning, this one's not as important to keep tight. I mean, you should keep it tight, but this one's not as important, I guess. But just another like quarter turn. I did like a little bit more, but then there you have it. That's how you would check your air filter. And another common problem, I really should have showed you this before I put this cover back on. This here is your carburetor. I mean, you can see it good enough here, just like that. This whole thing is your carburetor, and that can be a problem. And that's another thing you want to check every winter. So you want to check all your lines through here. You want to check your fuel lines, your oil lines. You want to check your shifter, see if it is loose, see if this bolt right here is tight. That's just a few more things. I'm going to go through a video of how to winterize your dirt bike and 4-wheelers in the future here in the next few days. I'll go through a video of how to do it, and I'll see you in that video then. So that's just a quick video of how to do that. It's not really quick, almost 20 minutes long, but hopefully it's in depth enough that anybody can follow it real easy, and, you know, they can fix a bogging problem on their bike. Alright, hope you guys all have a good one.